Hello, welcome to the Trophy Trust, your weekly podcast for PlayStation Trophy Hunters. I'm one of your hosts, the Dazil. Joining me this evening, we have the Vectronic.
Hello.
We have Punish.
Hey guys.
And we have Nomad Dragon.
Hi there.
So guys, here we are again. Another end of the week. Another week of gaming. So let's just kick off and have a little chat about what we've been playing recently. And you know what? I'm going to start off this section myself because, like I've said for last week and probably the week before now, I've only really been playing one game recently, and that's Bloodborne. And I platinumed it as of yesterday, so finally done it. Yes, indeed. I actually had a lot of help from people in the Bloodborne boosting thread on our Discord server, which I've spoken about many times now. Just firstly, though, I'd like to do a few shout-outs to Claire, to Shingo Bingo, to Punish here on the podcast as well. Also, to be honest, there's been loads of people being really helpful in the Bloodborne channel, particularly Alos88 as well has been particularly helpful with helping with bosses. And I'm sorry if I can't remember everyone's name in there, but everyone has definitely contributed to helping newbies such as myself out with Bloodborne. Like I've said before, I'm completely new to the Soulsborne series of games, so I found it a little challenging. And to be honest, it hasn't really ignited my interest in the Souls games. I gave it a go for the sake of it being on PlayStation Plus this month. And yeah, I enjoyed it. I had a really good time playing co-op with people from the server. I don't think I'm gonna pursue any more Souls games, at least in the near future. I could totally understand the attraction to those games, though. They are really satisfying when you finally overcome like a big, huge boss, where like all the odds against you, and you think you're never gonna get through it. But it's been fun. It's definitely been fun. I'm glad I tried it, and yeah, it was definitely a strength of the community on here as well. It's brought in a lot of new people to the server looking for help too. And now that I've got the platinum and now I've got a really high level character, I'm open to helping other people. As I've said, I'm happy to help other people because it is actually a lot of fun jumping into other people's games and taking on a boss together. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I've been carried through that game. I'm not great at that game. I'm really not. I really struggled on my own. So yeah, I had a lot of help through, and I don't think I would have done it just on my own. I don't have the patience for those games. I get frustrated quite easily with games like that where it's not unfair. It just requires a lot of practice and a lot of skill, you know. And yeah, so yeah, that's really all I can say, to be honest. There's not really much else I can say about it. I've been playing a little bit of Batman Telltale Season 2 in between just to sort of switch it up. But nothing really new to report other than we've got the final episode of Batman coming on Tuesday next week. So that's all really I have to say, to be honest. So I'm going to move on and stop yammering. Punish, what have you been playing recently?
I just completed my stack of Final Fantasy 15, so it's going to be the second time I've earned this platinum. I just completed that a couple of days ago, and then I fired up Final Fantasy 10, just kind of out of nostalgia, and I played a little bit of that. And I'm still also working on Bloodborne too, so I've been hopping back and forth between a lot of games. And then I'm anticipating the new Batman episode because once that comes out, I'm going to jump into that because I've been wanting to play Season 2 for a while now. But with Telltale games, I usually wait for all episodes to be released before I fire it up. So.
Oh yeah, like I said, I've been playing the Season 2 already, and did you finish you finished Season 1, right?
Yeah, I finished Season 1. Yep, really enjoyed it. I honestly think it's my top 3 of Telltale games.
Yeah, it's definitely some of their better material in recent years, along with Guardians of the Galaxy as well. And Season 2 is really good. I've been really enjoying it up until the 4 out of the 5 episodes that have been available up till now. And yeah, I think you'll really enjoy it. It's the whole fresh take on the origin stories of villains and just like how we've spoken at length about this on previous episodes. There's no need to kind of go over it again, but I'm definitely enjoying this new this original kind of Batman lore laid out by Telltale. It's really refreshing, and I hope when you get round to season 2, you enjoy it as much as I've been enjoying it.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Awesome. I think it's with Telltale games, they always go up on sale pretty much after just before or when the final episode comes out for a season. You'll find the season pass for that season on sale pretty much straight away. That's how I picked up season 2. I'm pretty sure I got it for just under £10, and I think it's actually on sale again now, at least in the EU stores. So I've definitely just wait until it's on sale, because it will definitely go on sale, and then you can just grab it then. Anything else you've been playing, or is that pretty much rounded it up for your week?
No, that's pretty much it. I played a little bit of Legends of Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel on my Vita for a little bit, but like I said, I'm
Vita,
Yeah, I broke out the Vita for a little bit. It was nice just being able to lay down and just pop, because I really enjoy mobile gaming. I mean, there's just times where it's like, you're laying in bed or you're laying down on the couch, and it's just a great feeling to have it right there in your hand, and you don't have to do anything else.
Yeah, I've been trying to get back into the Vita. I say get back. I've been trying to find a reason to play the Vita. There's a big Easter sale on at the moment on PSN. I had a little browse through it the other day, but nothing really jumps out. I mean, the sort of the good games in the sale I've already played and already own. So it's it's really tricky now. Like, it's a real shame. I love the Vita, but there's really, like, oh man, we've spoken so many times about this. Everyone always recommends me visual novels, and I always have to tell them they're not for me. But that's all I seem to see on the store these days, under sales or under the news section. It's just like visual novels or JRPGs, and they're not my cup of tea. I've tried them in the past. I just find them boring, to be honest, and that's just me though. I know people love them games, and I'm not faulting people who like those games. More power to them, and good for them. Lucky for them that they like those games, because it's a good reason for them to play the Vita. I don't know what I'm expecting anymore when I boot up the Vita and go in the store. It's not like I'm going in and I'm expecting, oh, look, a new Killzone, a new Uncharted, or something along those lines, of that caliber. I don't know. I mean, the only things I seem to find these days are like sort of mobile-ish games, which I'm fine with. Like a couple of pounds cheap mobile-style games on the Vita is fine if they've got a decent, pretty, I'm not gonna lie, an easy trophy list, just to sort of, because with the Vita, for me, it's gone from being that kind of AAA games on the go portable to being like basically like a mobile gaming where you can just sit and watch television or watch a movie, but also kind of twiddle your thumbs along to the Vita as well without putting much thought into it. And those are the kind of games I'm sort of gearing towards recently, the Vita, or at least trying to. So but I have seen an influx of mobile style games on the Vita. A lot of them are actually going over to Switch now as well. A lot of games I remember being on the Vita you can find now on the Switch. So it seems that Switch is taking Vita's place now as a sort of go-to for small indie style handheld gaming, which is great. Which is great for gaming in general and whatnot, but not good for the old trophy hunters. If I'm honest.
Yeah, exactly. I completely agree with you there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right then. Well, if that's everything rounded up for your week, Punish, we'll move on. Nomad. What have you been up to?
This week, let's see. Last weekend, I bought Burnout Paradise Remastered, and I actually got 13th on 100%ing that on PSN Profiles.
Nice.
.com. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Totally crushed, and Mako really helped me get that done pretty quick, like the multiplayer.
Cool.
You got this. You got the single player done as well.
Yeah,
I got
the 100%. And I'm like 13th person that did that. Well, for the US stack, because there's a EU stack as well.
Sure. How long did that take anyway? Just roughly. How long were you playing it for?
Like end game time, it took me 14 hours.
That's not too long, really.
But like actual time took like 2.5 days, because some of it, like when you have to do like 60 events in a row, it kind of gets
repetitive,
tedious.
Yeah, I can imagine. So it sounds like you gunned it pretty hard then over like the course of 2 days.
Yeah, definitely. And then 3 days ago, I started Monster Hunter World.
Yeah, I remember seeing you posting a picture.
Yeah, I'm already 22 hours in 3 days. That's pretty crazy.
Damn.
Like I'm pretty sure already that I'm gonna put more time into this game than Destiny, and I have like combined with both Destinies, I probably have like 1,000 hours played.
Oh,
So
man, that's crazy.
Ooh.
I remember you saying on the at least somewhere on the Discord about you're in no rush to like, go for the platinum for Monster Hunter. Not that there is a rush because it's like hundreds of hours. But you said you'll get there in the end. I suppose you're just gonna be chipping away at it, making small little steps as you go along. But
yeah, I feel like it's one of those games that I'll just like pick up when I'm in between games. Or I mean, like right now it's my main game, but I mean, eventually I'll need a break. I'll probably take a break with like Far Cry 5 next weekend, but
sure. Yeah,
but
I can
besides
imagine
that, I haven't been playing much else. I want to get Bloodborne platted, but I'm stuck in Monster Hunter right now.
Oh man, they're kind of like similar, not like kind of similar in kind of theme about like fighting big monsters and all of that. You don't think you'd end up
Similar in
like
combat though.
you don't think you'd like end up burning yourself out by playing both of those games too close to each other?
No, definitely not. Because Bloodborne is. I've played every Souls game, so I love those games. Like, I don't think they'll get old for me, honestly.
Okay. All right. Well, best of luck with Monster Hunter. Maybe in a couple of months' time, you'll be on this podcast telling how you platinumed it, or maybe in a couple of years. I don't know.
Years.
We'll put a post-it note on this episode and
We'll see
Wow.
how long it takes.
yeah, we'll put a pin
Years.
in this one. Indeed. All right then. Well, Vec, what have you been playing?
Okay, so I've been playing 2 games recently. The first one I actually platinumed this week, which was Mini Ninjas on the PlayStation 3. So
I remember that. Nice. I remember that game. I remember that. I never played it, but I remember the trailer coming out for it and it looking kind of like quite cute, but sort of really interesting as well.
yeah,
How was it? Tell us
It's
how the
it's
journey was.
it was a very simple game. Actually, it didn't take me long to actually platinum the game because I wasn't going for the optional stuff. I was mainly just trying to beat the game and try to collect some of the animals, which I will get to later. But it's a very simple platinum. Currently, it's like an uncommon, so it's very easy to actually go and play through the whole game. The hard difficulties is not that hard at all. Like you can easily cheese the whole game by using some techniques and using some of the items to cheese some of the bosses and the enemies around that are very annoying. And the game doesn't punish you for dying. Instead, it helps you get to beat the game, so you can actually get through that game fairly quickly. Like it took me, I started Monday, I ended up on Wednesday getting the platinum, so it didn't take me like
Wow.
yeah, it took me like 4 hour sessions, so you can beat it in a day. Yeah, it's how can I describe it? So the game itself, which I've never didn't describe it at first, it's basically a open like a stage by stage open world game where you run around as a ninja trying to rescue fellow ninjas that have been searching around what's going on with mysterious how should I say this so samurais that have been appearing around that have been attacking fellow villages, and the master has been sending plenty of the students to find what's going on and find the source of the evil, in which it now leads to the protagonist, which is Hero, trying to rescue each of his fellow students and trying
So is it like a sort of 3D platforming as well?
It's kind of it has platforming elements, but it's mainly stealth. Like you use stealth to go around the enemies and try to attack them and ambush them. You use a plethora of items like smoke bombs and like caltrops to stun the enemies around so you can actually hit them. you mainly use a sword and a hammer at first, which with two characters. But as you go throughout the game, you unlock your other ninjas. That you can go back to other stages to use them in certain places to get into some collectibles and trying to get to beat some enemies quicker. For example, you there's like an enemy that has spears, and you can use and you can rescue a friend later on. That when you go back and do it on the harder difficulties, it's much easier to breeze through them because you can use a spear against them. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to look. I'll take another look at that as well because it seems like this is like the second time you've intrigued me with an old PS3 game. Because when you mentioned Dante's Inferno about 2 weeks ago, I forgot to look it up, but now you've reminded me again, which I will look that up and look that this Mini Ninjas up today because I think I've glanced at the trophy guide for it in the past, but it never really stuck in my mind. But yeah, I'm always looking for an excuse to go back to PS3. I still have my PS3 set up underneath my PS4, so I do like to jump back to it every now and then. But trying to find a game that's sort of, it's going to hold my attention and be worth, so to speak, booting the PS3 up again would be nice. So I'll definitely keep that in mind.
Yeah.
So was that everything you've done for this week?
One more thing about Mini Ninjas before I move on to the next game is that one of the things that I love doing that game is replaying one of the snow levels and using the hat that you can use as a boat and slide throughout the snow and jump to the enemy fortress where you attack all the enemies at the same time, ambush them, and then go back and beat the level. And you can do that over and over again. It's so much fun. I'm trying to remember the actual level of the game, but I can't get it into my mind. I think it's Volcano Ascent. It's one of the last levels of the game, and it's so much fun. Just sliding down as a ninja, beating up other samurai, and reaching the bottom. So if you want to know how that feels, go play that game. It's very fun. As to the next,
I enjoyed that game as well.
Yeah. So the other game I've been playing is a Suda51 game. It's Lollipop Chainsaw.
I remember that game. My girlfriend played that game for quite a while. It's all references to like horror movies and such, isn't it?
Yes, it's basically a horror movie gore fest, and it's amazing. So the premise of the game is that you play as a cheerleader called Juliet, that also is a zombie hunter from a long family of trio of zombie hunters, and it's wow. You wield a magical chainsaw that you upgrade through each level, and you cut off zombies that have been terrorizing this school, and you have been, cutting off classmates, trying to wreck some of the teachers, which are bosses, zombie cops, zombie firemen. So far, I reached the point that I made it to zombie Vikings and zombie quarterbacks, which have been super amazing because the game is so flavorful, has many witty jokes that make me laugh, and I'm accustomed to that pun style of game. So
it's kind of goofy, like Dead Rising, isn't it?
Yeah. Speaking of Dead Rising, you're almost correct on how the game plays. So it's like a linear type of game where you go to point A to point B, defeating zombies in each area, while wielding a magical chainsaw, which you can upgrade for extra points. And you can go back and redo every single stage to get zombie medals, which you can use to upgrade the chainsaw. Add a dash ability, which you unlock later in the game, which allows you to extend and cut zombies while running and keeping the combo up. What was the other one? You can use a Gatling gun to mow down zombies one by one and shooting off by their headshots, and they fly up and they blow up in a ray of sparkles. Or you can line them up in one straight line and cut them to get extra points and extra coins that you can unlock different upgrades later on in the game.
And it's always. I'm surprised this is one of those games that didn't get sort of one of those out of the blue, unexpected remasters for this generation.
Yeah, that is a game that needs a remaster because some of the transitions between levels are somewhat seamless, but they're mostly boarded off by load times, which aren't that bad. But I would say that if it had a remaster, it would be like loading the entire level and having it so that you can actually have those transitions. Because at one point you're like in the rooftop and you jump off a ramp and you then go and land to the other side of the school, but there's a loading time in between that. So when you arrive, there's like the point of like the climax. There's like a load time, and then it goes back and goes back again where the falling animation starts, and it goes back down, loading the entire level again. So I believe if you can actually remaster this game, I would not mind buying it again because the game is so corny and fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right then. Well, that brings us to the end of this segment about what we've been playing for this week. So why don't we dive into some news stories and have a chat about some recent gaming developments?
That is correct, Des.
Lead the way. Tell us.
Okay, so our first story of the day concerns us with the recent announcement that God of War is now gold. Now, in layman's terms, when a game goes gold, is basically now it's on the finished product and is ready to be shipped. So, what do you guys expect on the new God of War?
Awesome. Lots of killing.
Yeah, there's been a few videos out in the last week. There was one that's been doing the rounds on different outlets. Is the 15-minute gameplay because I think outlets got a certain websites and other like some YouTube channels. I think the official PlayStation YouTube channel put up a 15-minute gameplay. I think they put out like a preview build for some people. It was like 2 hours, the first 2 hours of the game, and some websites put up like preview reviews sort of thing. Like not proper reviews, but like previews. And seems to be being well received, and especially the sort of the single cut sort of one shot thing that's going on where it's like one uninterrupted shot, no cuts, no loading screens apparently from start to finish. It's just one continuous camera shot, so to speak. So that's definitely an interesting style for a game where gaming ever since gaming has begun has always had loading screens in some way or another. Developers try to hide loading screens, behind like pre-rendered cutscenes or like little mini games or
elevators.
Elevators, or like in Dead Space, loading screens were hidden by doors, like depressurizing. That was a clever one, by the way. The door would be like equalizing the pressure as you're waiting for the room behind it to load, which would make sense in like a space station or a spaceship, waiting for the pressures to equalize between compartments. So that's quite a clever one. But I don't really have anything much to add to the discussion of God of War. That game is, consider it bought, by me. I'm a huge God of War fan. I platinumed all the previous games, so I'm ready.
I'm ready to buy this, try this game as well. Although I feel like this game is also very interesting how the development went, because unlike the first God of War game, this game will have multiple sequels planned already. So I'm actually excited because the narrative in God of War has not been the best. Although what you can do in that game is actually pretty fucking amazing. But the narrative has been a mess, a convoluted mess that doesn't have an overarching plot. And the game was like, the first game was like, what was it? Like a one done story, but they had to make a sequel, so they didn't know what to expect right after, and they had to make it
especially bombastic. With like the prequels as well, or the ones set in between. So you've got like the PSP games, like God of War: Chains of Olympus, and then God of War: Ghost of Sparta, and then God of War: Ascension, which is a prequel to the first game. So the overall kind of like flow of the timeline is pretty messy, especially with PSP games I really enjoyed. They were awesome, especially when they were like remastered for PS3. But it's hard to place exactly where they are in the timeline. They're sort of just chucked in sort of before the first game at some point when Kratos is still under the servitude of Ares, and or I don't know. There was one where where in Ghost of Sparta where he's on a quest to save his long lost brother.
Yeah.
That's the general kind of like thing of it. Which we're no spoilers for any games here, but I found Ghost of Sparta to be very anticlimactic, considering the main sort of mission of that game is to find Deimos, his brother, and it didn't really play out to how I expected. It was pretty disappointing. But it had some
it was a PSP game.
Yeah, well, no, the gameplay was really good. The actual game was good. We're just talking about the story, though. Like the story is the weak point in up until the new God of War. The strongest story game was probably 2. It had the best one. It had the best story in it, where you had like Kratos is like basically destined to be killed by Zeus, so he has to change his fate. He has to go to an island and find the Sisters of Fate who control everyone's fate with they had like cords, string, like they thread people's fates on like big spinning wheels. Like if anyone's ever seen Disney's Hercules, like the fates, the 3 sisters, the witches, they have like strings, don't they, and they cut it and it ends people's lives. And Hercules, when he becomes a hero, the string becomes golden and they can't cut it. Well, it's the same. It's just based out of the same Greek myth, so the Sisters of Fate control people's lives by I can't really think of the word, but like creating the threads on a big sort of spinning wheel. And Kratos needs to go and find either his one or find the ability to control time, to change time. So it's got a really cool story to it. And 3 is the direct, like literally the direct sequel to that. Like the end of 2 is literally the beginning of 3. There's no time passes. So 2 and 3 are definitely like the solid story part of the games. But
3's my favorite by far.
I bought the remaster for that for PS4 because that game was so good. The music.
Twice.
Yeah, I have the soundtrack on my phone. That game was amazing. Just the soundtrack when you're just killing like the gods and the bosses is just fantastic. Just what an excellent game, and I'm sure the new game definitely raises the bar from that one. It's a shame Ascension was a bit of a disappointment though.
I have not played Ascension.
I've never played that one.
Well, play it. It's an okay God of War game, but it's a bit disappointing after 3. It's not as epic as 3 in terms of the story and where Kratos goes and what he does.
That's the only one with online support, correct?
Yeah, multiplayer. Yeah.
Not the trophies. If you're thinking about trophies though, it's basically just like play a game and that's about it. It's like jump in and try trophies. Like it would take you like an hour at most, or not even that. I think it's like half an hour. They're really really quick. I don't know what they were doing with that.
That one I was so hesitant because of the online trophies. Now I'm thinking about picking it up because that's the only God of War game I've not played. Besides maybe the PS4 one, though, that hasn't even been released. So that's about it.
Ascension is definitely worth a play. It's a God of War game. It's fine. It's just not as impactful as God of War 3. Like it's a prequel. It's set just before the very first God of War game. So it's not like you've got like what we thought at the time. God of War 3 was like the climax of Kratos and like the end of his story. So going from that huge epic finish, finally like facing off with Zeus, like fighting off against Zeus is like the main thing from the very first opening scenes of God of War 2, and finally it coming into fruition at the end of 3. And then Ascension's kind of like a bit of 2 steps backwards. In regards to the epicness of it. But again, I still recommend playing it. It's fine. It's pretty easy platinum as well. To be honest, I definitely think it's one of the easiest platinums of the God of War series.
Really?
Currently. Yeah. I don't remember having any trouble with it. To be honest.
I think 3 is easy.
Yeah, I was about to say like 3 is the easiest because you can cheese the Titan mode like pretty fucking hard.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how to say because that's kind of debatable. God of War 1's platinum is pretty fucking bullshit, but
Yep. Definitely.
Yeah, I never finished 1 or 2.
Yeah, they are. 1 is particularly. It's got a speedrun trophy, and the Challenge of the Gods is awful. That's why I was not really that bothered about getting it on Vita, to be honest, because I really didn't want to play all of that shit again, especially with tiny little like analog sticks as well. So
I mean, I beat the games, but like, I mean, I beat them a lot on PS2. That's why, like, when I got them on PS3, I was like, yeah, I'll go for the platinum. And then after playing through one more time, I was like, nah, I don't need to play it. I don't need to play it anymore.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I think we spent enough time talking about God of War. So, what's the next one, Vic?
Okay, so our next topic on the list is that Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 is apparently getting a remastered version, although two things are very much missing. According to the rumors, no multiplayer and will not be developed by Raven. I don't know how to chime in on this one. Any of you guys played Modern Warfare 2?
Yeah, I played. I was really big into it when it first came out. I got really put onto the game because my brother played it a lot, so I played a lot with my brother. And I mean, I played the campaign, and it took me like 10 to 15 hours to beat the campaign, but most of my time was spent on the multiplayer. And if they're really going to do the remaster without the multiplayer, I think it's going to be a huge mistake because a lot of people want this game just because of the multiplayer. It was one of the most memorable multiplayer games out there. I mean, there's still people on the original game right now still playing it. So
yeah, I can tell you, the single player is only 6 hours. So like if it's $25, say, I mean, if it's only the campaign, that's 6 hours, like $25. That's crazy. I mean, unless they bring back the co-op mode, which they had in the original. What was it called? Spec Ops?
Yeah, Spec Ops, yep.
Oh man, yeah, that's just brought loads of memories flooding back. I was trying to fight off those bloody juggernauts in like the final. Yeah, I never platinumed that game.
Like, or the airport graveyard.
Yeah. Oh god, those were awful. Or the what's the name of the? I can't remember. I'm terrible with remembering that map names. But the one where it's like the sort of like lodge kind of chateau, like out in the forest. It's kind of like a kind of wooden cabin.
Oh,
like
I know what you're talking about.
A nice wooden cabin, like a nice wooden house.
Yeah, like a 2-story.
Yeah, I remember getting. We were on the final. Me and a friend, we were on the final wave, and yeah, Juggernaut gunned us both down. The Juggernaut sort of killed me, and then my friend couldn't get to me to revive me. So yeah, screw that mode.
Wow.
Yeah, that's really not great. But I'm sure. It seems like going forward though, this seems to be like a trend. If the rumors are true, I think every year going forward, we're probably going to see a remaster of a previous Call of Duty game as a pre-order incentive. I think.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, I really want the multiplayer. Like honestly, like I probably put 30 plus days of gameplay into Modern Warfare 2 on PS3. So. It's definitely probably one of my favorite Call of Duties of all time, and I've played every single one. So
yeah, that one in Black Ops 1, I would like to see a remaster for the multiplayer, not just necessarily the campaign, but those were the multiplayers I really enjoyed playing. So I would definitely love to see a remaster for the multiplayer.
Okay, so while you guys are talking, I just got an update on this story. As we are talking. Kotaku has confirmed during a stream that Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Remastered is only campaign.
Yeah, okay, so I'm not buying it.
Well, that killed like a lot of Call of Duty fans' interest, like immediately.
Well, I get
Yeah,
it.
like 90% of them probably, honestly.
Yeah, well, Call of Duty is people buy it for the multiplayer, regardless whether it's the remaster or not. But if it's just single player, and eventually, of course, will be sold separately down the line. But I'll see how the trophy list is. If it's like Modern Warfare, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, where it's got like pretty much a doable trophy list, but with like one shitty trophy that a lot of people have trouble with, I'd probably give it a miss. But if it's got like a pretty casual trophy list in terms of like, oh, it's all right, I might get it on sale one day. But if it's going to be like complete it on, oh, it definitely will have a complete it on veteran or hardened mode on it for sure.
Yeah, I was thinking the reason that they're not doing the multiplayer is because back when they did Remaster, and it split up the bit for the multiplayer. So I think that's like they're trying to not split the fan base of Black Ops 4, so that everybody plays that multiplayer for their like multiplayer fix, I guess.
Yeah, sure. They're just sort of like they want to consolidate all the players into, I suppose, one online rather than having some people go to the Modern Warfare one and some people go to the new Black Ops one. So yeah, I can see what they're going there, and plus also bringing back like the online for an old game, bringing servers up again. I suppose they just want to concentrate on the new product rather than the bringing back to life an old one.
Yeah.
No, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. So that's a good point.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Well, just really quickly before moving on to the next story, this is just semi-related.
Yeah.
To
sure.
Online and all of that. I just looked it up for you, Vec, by the way, for the God of War Ascension. It only has one online trophy, and it's basically just start the online mode. That's it.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, yeah, that's just thought I'd tell you that. So maybe you'll have a go at it.
Yeah.
So,
I'll probably go at it. I need to find a copy then. Anyways.
Sure.
Let's move
You will need an online pass, though, by the way. It was during that era where PS3 did those online pass things.
All those online passes things are now kind of free now, so they decided to remove some of the games people that had the online passes with purchase options, although not all of them, and I hope this game doesn't have that problem. I'll probably check the listings after this podcast, so...
That's wise.
Yes. So, moving on to our next story. CD Projekt Red, the developers of the games such as The Witcher, is opening a third studio to work on the next game, Cyberpunk 2077, with the aid of Poland. So let's go. What do you guys think about Cyberpunk 2077?
I think it's kind of good news. It tells me that the studio is really focusing on the game because this game's been highly anticipated for a very long time. It's a really great concept. I'm looking forward to it coming out. I'm looking forward to seeing how it comes out, if that makes sense, because there's been a ton of rumors about the gameplay, about the story, and things like that, and it's just anticipation, really. So them opening up a third studio is telling me that they're getting really focused on the game and finishing it and polishing it up. So with CD they've always made good product. They've always made good product. I don't think they've ever put out a bad product in my opinion, at least one I haven't played. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. With them opening up this new studio, it's good news.
Yep.
I personally don't really have much to say about it. I watched that trailer they released for it, but I don't really know much about this game, to be honest. Or like I assume there were previous games of Cyber.
Yes, looking it up right now. So
because I really don't have any idea. I know people are really hyped about it, but I'm not caught up in the hype because I really don't know much about it, to be honest. About its legacy, is what I'm saying.
So Cyberpunk. The sequel, gameplay. I can't find anything besides apparently it's gonna be a first or third person's perspective role-playing game set in the open world metropolis called Night City. you can. Oh, this is interesting. The game will not feature non-English speaking characters. Players who do not speak the languages can buy a translator implants to better comprehend them. Depending on the advancement on the implants, translations may vary. It's gonna launch with a multiplayer component and will fully focus on the single player aspects, although they did not rule out the multiplayer component completely. I don't see anything about a sequel though. It's gonna be mainly
Well,
single player.
all I can picture in my mind is sort of kind of like Deus Ex, I guess. I mean, based on the trailer as well, it kind of looks more like Blade Runner, really. At least that's the tone I got from the like the pre-rendered trailer. But sort of more, but even more futuristic than Blade Runner in terms of like the technology. All right. Well, I haven't really got anything more to add to this particular topic. Unless you want to move on.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have any input.
Okay, so we can move on to the next story, which is Assassin's Creed 2019 to be set in Greece.
Yay.
I'm excited because I wanna meet some of the Greek philosophers, please. I enjoyed running around Venice and Florence in Assassin's Creed 2 and Brotherhood, and Rome as well. And I loved probably the American setting as well, although I want to try going to ancient Greece now, please. Please.
Assassin's Creed, and it will come with Leaning Tower Collector's Edition or something.
No, the Leaning Tower. Come on. I wanna meet some of these great people and see how their philosophies mix together, because some of these philosophers were very close to each other in ancient Greece. So it should be fun. Any of you guys have any opinions?
I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it also.
I'm not really bothered where it's set, to be honest. If it's more like solid, like light RPG gameplay, like Origins was, I'll be up for it. I mean, Origins really got me interested in Assassin's Creed now. So, although I would like to have seen something more like, I don't know, like ancient Japan or something. Sort of put like a samurai and sort of combine samurai and assassins and like Templars and ninjas and all that kind of stuff. It's a lot of space to work with. I know they did those side-scrolling platforming Assassin's Creed ones, like they set in Russia. Was one Japan or was one China, and the other one was
Chronicles.
Something else. Yeah, Chronicles. That's it. That's the one I was thinking of. But yeah, but then again, I suppose if we're getting that that game by Sucker Punch, that Japanese game by Sucker Punch, I suppose maybe a Ghost of
Tsushima.
Yeah, that's it.
Tsushima.
Yeah, I suppose if they were to do sort of a ancient Japanese or feudal Japan Assassin's Creed, it might be a little bit too much of that kind of genre. But then again, we don't know when that Ghost of Tsushima is coming out anyway, so
yeah.
This is all hypothetical, by the way. This is just me, just
probably 2019
thinking out loud. But yeah, I don't mind. Whatever. We'll see. We'll see when we see as well.
Yeah, we'll see.
I noticed this week as well, just on the topic of Assassin's Creed, that people have been playing Assassin's Creed Rogue Remastered. That basically got completely hidden by Unity. Overshadowed by Unity. Its launch was almost secret, really. You saw nothing about it. Unity took center stage, and Rogue just kind of slipped out behind it. But at least now it's getting a chance being remastered, and the enhanced versions have all got like 4K support and everything, so that's cool. But I don't have any interest in it. I don't really want to go backwards. Like I really enjoyed Origins and all the new systems and stuff in it. I don't want to go back to a game that doesn't have those mechanics in it. So I'll pass, to be honest, for Rogue.
Yep. Is that everyone's thoughts at the moment? So we can move on to the next two stories. The last two. Okay. So the last two stories are actually release dates on two games. The first one is that Konami, yes, that Konami, will be releasing Zone of Enders Second Runner Mars for PS4 and PC in September for Japan. So this was unexpected really, when I saw
Really
this.
unexpected.
Like, taking something that got remastered last generation with the PS3 collection of Zone of Enders. I think it was 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Now having this one, it's pretty fucking strange move by Konami. Although probably a way to satisfy people to buying their games again, trying to see if you can get people to go back to their ways after Survive. But yeah,
So they were teasing it, weren't they? With they on their Twitter account, on Konami's Twitter account, they were just dropping gifs each every few days of like scenes from Zone the Enders. And by the way, I've never played those games, and I don't have any interest in them. So just a disclaimer there. But I think it's just a cash-in, just your typical kind of port cash-in. I don't know whether Konami's even bothered about testing the market to make new games, because like Survive is just like a reskin of the map from 5 with a few more mechanics thrown in.
You say that, and I still haven't gotten to the other half, which is the remastered features overhauled graphics in 4K, cutting-edge post effects, completely remastered audio, and the ability to host virtual reality content throughout the PSVR TV and Steam VR. So you can play in the cockpit mode of the actual mechs. So that is actually pretty fucking cool now that I think about it.
Yeah, but I think that's just flavour added, to entice you to actually buy another port of the remasters.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know?
Mm-hmm. But
it's really, I'm really skeptical about like anything Konami does now, because they just don't seem to like give a shit anymore, like about actually making an impact on like gaming anymore. Like they've got so many like IPs that they just don't use or implement. Like, Silent Hill, that's been completely like scuppered. You've got like Castlevania. They could make an awesome look at games like Dark Souls and Bloodborne and all of that, right? People love those games.
Yeah.
Castlevania's just there, right, for the picking, to make a kind of like Souls style Castlevania game, even though they made 3D Castlevania games for a long time. But I'm just saying, like, the market is there. People want kind of like those Souls type games. Castlevania was like a Souls type game, basically, in terms of like the atmosphere and the setting, the kind of gothic setting and vampires and all that kind of stuff. So, but they're not really bothered about it. So I don't really know. I just, people would buy those games, but they don't really seem to be making an effort with bringing them back, do they?
Yeah.
So I guess they're just looking through their
old IP library and see what actually fits.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'd lost the word there, but just resources. They're just looking through what resources they've got and what they could probably like pump out quickly, to be honest. So yeah. But as I said, I've got no interest, so it's I'm impartial.
Any other input before we move on to the last story of the day?
Yeah, I'm just going to touch down on what Daz was talking about. Is that Konami is it's like they're throwing out the last lifeline. Like they have nothing. It feels like they're holding on for dear life. They have put out anything really original in a long time. All the most original games they put out were completely rubbish. And like Dad said, they have so many IPs that they could touch on. Like hell, if they're remastering a ton of these crap games, in my opinion. I mean, I played Zone of the Enders on PS2. For crap's sake, I mean, you come up with something better than that, especially with like Castlevania. Hell, remaster Symphony of the Night, one of the best games ever made in the Castlevania series.
I just don't think that they're bothered about video game industry anymore, because Konami makes tons of their money through. They have loads of different businesses, and we're not just talking about like pachinko machines. I think I've heard somewhere before, like in Japan, they own like gyms and stuff. They have like they have like fingers in like different pies, like different businesses, so to speak.
Yeah, they also have they have their hands a lot in. I mean, most people are surprised, but arcades are still big in Japan.
Yeah.
Like they're still huge, and Konami owns a lot of those arcades, from what I've heard. I mean, don't quote me on it or anything, but that's from what I've read online.
So I think their business is really gearing towards where the money is for them, and that's in like gambling and other ventures. Maybe they're just not interested in home entertainment video games anymore. They definitely seem to be like petering out in terms of their presence within gaming. like mainstream gaming. That's for sure.
Yeah. No, they need to sell off the IPs that way so they can actually make a decent Castlevania game again.
All right, Vic, what's that last one then?
The last one is that Sonic Mania is getting an enhanced port on PS4, Xbox One, and PC, titled the Sonic Mania Plus, which adds 2 new playable characters, an encore mode, 4-player competition mode, some packaging with a physical release, a 32-page art book, and a reversible cover featuring the Genesis cover of the game, which sounds like a nostalgic.
Is that the Sonic made by fans?
Yep, the Sonic Mania made by fans. Yeah, it adds.
Well.
Yep.
Well, I'll just quickly get in there and say, well, you probably need an electron microscope to see the amount of care I have for Sonic. So that's me.
Yeah. I hate Sonic. Yeah. I hate Sonic. Yeah, I hate Sonic. I really do. So there's my 2 cents into it about the game.
But it's called a Sonic Mania, though. I'm just saying, like, I don't care for Sonic at all. I didn't grow up playing those games, or even have any, say, consoles. But I have played Sonic in the past, and it's just not my game. So, but yeah, it's good that Sonic Mania's gotten really good feedback, and it's getting like another chance at big. But yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? How a Sonic game made basically by fans for the fans did really well and received like really, really well. People were loving it. People were going crazy over it on Twitter when it came out. And then you had what's that other one? The one that came out just a little while after. Forces, yeah, the one that was actually made by Sega and just.
The contrast is amazing. I know. It's jarring, but.
But yeah, good on those guys. I mean, I know I say I don't like. It was obviously hyperbole. Like, I don't care for Sonic, but it's cool that Sonic Mania is definitely getting the appreciation it deserves, because a lot of people love that game because it's very nostalgic for them, and that's cool.
Yep, and that's why I'm so interested and keen about this game, because I needed a physical release of this game for a long time, and people were bitching about Sonic Mania Collector's Editions not having this physical release of the actual game. So now that people now have an excuse to go back and buying them, because this adds the 2 playable characters, which were omitted by Sega, actually. Mighty the Armadillo and Ray the Squirrel, if I'm mistaken. So, and
well, I don't know why people be complaining about it. I understand why people complain it wouldn't have a physical edition, but look at it from a business point of view. It obviously was a small project to begin with not a lot of money, and printing physical copies costs in the millions sometimes, depending on how many discs you order. So they've obviously sold it digitally first. Now they've made enough money, they've made the profit. Now they have the money, the finances to go physical. So they need to. It's like it's happened loads of times before. I mean, you get it with limited games and all of that as well. That company that does limited physical editions for like Vita games and such.
Limited run games.
Limited run games. They do loads of really cool little physical editions of like popular Vita games and such. But yeah, sometimes they just have to wait and get the money back first. Actually make a bit of profit before they can invest in putting it out on disc. So sometimes you just have to be patient, and support a game early, and maybe you'll be rewarded with the option to buy physical collectors or special edition down the line. It happens more often than not. A year later there'll be a physical edition of a really popular digital only game at launch. So
anyone else wants to chip in on this story before we move on to the next section of the podcast?
Nope.
Okay.
No, I'm good.
All right then. So I guess we'll be moving on to our tricky trophies then, huh?
Yep.
So, Tricky Trophies, the segment where we look back through our trophy collections at some of the most challenging, rage-inducing gameplay, or just plain boredom and grinding we've had to endure for a single trophy. So I tell you what, Nomad, did you
what's up?
find a tricky trophy for us this week?
Yes,
I did. Example?
Yeah, I got one. So mine comes from Assassin's Creed Brotherhood.
Okay.
I actually got this platinum back in 2011. But I'm just looking through the history of like what frustrated me the most, and this is one of those trophies. So the trophy reads, get every single bonus at least once in multiplayer.
Let me guess the name. Abstergo Employee of the Month.
Yes, sir. That is it.
So basically, you have to do a obscene amount of like various things, like to get this trophy, and like some examples, like say you have to in midair shoot a target with the hidden gun and get a kill, like while you're like jumping down like off a building or something.
No. It was you have to shoot someone while they're falling in midair.
Oh, while they're falling.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because you can't aim without the actual gun because you have to steady your shot before you actually shoot it.
Yeah, and you actually have to wait till you reach level 29 to get the last ability that you need.
Regardless, you need to be level 50 in order to get the platinum. So.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I remember that trophy giving me a lot of frustration. I mean, even 7 years ago, I still remember that. Like, it's crazy. That just shows like how much frustration it caused.
It sticks with you.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, cool. Punish. Have you got a tricky trophy for us?
Yes, I do. My tricky trophy is actually coming from Legends of Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel, and this one is called the Social Note Working Trophy. It is, for everybody is familiar with like the Persona series, you know, you have the social links and things like that, and Legends of Heroes has something very, very similar to where you deal with your combat mates, but you also have something to where you take down notes and create profiles of everybody that you meet. And for this to get this particular trophy, you have to record everybody, and I mean everybody. And this is an 80 to 100 hour plus game on one playthrough. Sometimes to get the platinum, you need 2 to 3 playthroughs. But to get this trophy, you have to talk to every single person every single time, and there's also you have to update their character sheets as well. And if you miss one single one, you're completely screwed. Now, when you start New Game Plus, you can have the profiles transfer over to New Game Plus, but it also takes up a lot of your new. You get at the end of the game, you get New Game Plus points, and you get to select. Okay, I want my starting level from where I last started off of. I want my starting weapons, and you can pick a particular set of number ones you want, depending on how much the points costs. And that one actually costs the most points. It could actually kick you back to level 1. You lose all your weapons and everything like that just to transfer over the character profiles.
That sucks.
Yeah. So it's very, very difficult. It's very, very tedious because literally you'll be running around town talking to every single person you see, and it's constant paranoia. You'll be talking to the same person over and over and over again just to make sure the profile got updated.
Yeah, I can totally relate with like that. For example, like in I can't think of a game off the top of my head right now, but where it requires you to, like, for example, speak to every character in the game, and there's me just like tapping like the same dialogue just to definitely make sure that I've got everything, you know. And those trophies make you paranoid, you know. They make you do things over and over in a kind of like obsessive compulsive nature just to make sure you don't miss out on it.
Oh yeah, exactly. And you don't want to do another playthrough if you don't have to, especially when it's an 80 to 100 plus hour game.
Oof. Yeah, exactly. All right, Vic, what's your one for this week?
Okay, so my one is actually from the Persona 4 Arena Ultimax games. This one is called, I'm looking at the actual list right now. So the actual thing is that you have to beat every single playable character at least once in network mode. So you actually have to go back into the online play and have your opponent be whatever other person in the actual roster. And the actual roster itself, you have to go from each manually, one by one. So you have to beat all the actual different characters, which I'm trying to find out the actual exact number, because not only you have to beat all the different characters, but the shadow versions of each character. So in Persona 4 Arena, there's multiple tier standards. So there's the normal characters you can use throughout the whole game, and there's shadow type characters, which are basically clones of the characters, but they have separate move sets altogether. And
Okay.
the online mode requires you to play against once of every single character at least once, and there's no way to keep track of which character you beat up against. And if you go and try to do this legit without boosting, it's almost impossible because some people are, especially with a meta system, people tier lists and stuff. People don't normally play some of the lesser powerful characters and decide not to go after them. So getting this legit is practically impossible. But if you want to get it boosted, you can go to the actual in-game lobby, connect, wait like 30 seconds between each connection, go to the lobby, pick a seat with another person, wait until that person connects, both synchronize, get inside, pick a character, have the other person pick the other character that you already checked off or need to check off, play against that character for a match which lasts like 2 to 3 minutes, then immediately get booted back out, which takes like a minute to load, and then rinse and repeat because it boots you out of the lobby and you have to synchronize again, and you have to do it like around 30 times because there's like I'm trying to find the actual roster number of the it's around. I can't find the actual number right now. I've been tediously mustering, but the point is, you basically need. It's around 13 playable characters, although there's the shadow versions, which adds up to the actual playthrough. So that's about it. You just have to like tediously grind with another person and hope that connection gets stable because otherwise it's gonna be laggy. So that's my tricky trophy. What's yours, Daz?
Well, before I go on to mine, I'm actually going to read out one of the tricky trophies from our tricky trophies thread. These are ones that have been submitted by members of our Discord server. We haven't read any out for a little while, so I'm going to read out one by Kitty Payne from the thread. Now, if I can just scroll to it. This one pertains to Metal Gear Solid 3, one of my favourite games. Kitty Payne writes, "It ain't easy being green," which is the name of the trophy. Metal Gear Solid 3 HD. This was hard enough on PS3. Cannot imagine doing it on a tiny Vita screen. There are 64 little frogs you need to find and shoot. Follow for a walkthrough, in brackets. Near the end of the game, there are 3 that need to be shot from a moving vehicle during a chase scene. Now, I've definitely mentioned this before, and a few of us have talked about this before in previous episodes. Normally, they make a sound when you shoot, so this sort of helps when you need to use the parabolic microphone for these 3 to confirm, or you might end up second-guessing yourself and keep restarting the checkpoint until you're sure you got it. Now, I can totally relate to this trophy because I got it myself on PS3, and yeah, there's a good... I don't even want to attempt it on PS Vita because of the tiny analog sticks and the controls and whatnot. But yeah, I can totally relate to what Kitty has written here about the moving vehicle section right at the end when you're on a bike being chased in the sort of climax boss fight of the game. Yeah, and one of the little sort of keratin plastic frogs is well off in the distance on a fence post. And I've told this story before myself, but yeah, you can try using a sniper rifle, but you're moving. You're in a sidecar of a bike, so you're moving, and you have to like zoom the sniper rifle in. And I had to just keep reloading my save over and over and over. And I think eventually, in the end, I just tried it with the RPG with the rocket launcher because it has the splash damage, and I didn't know if it hit it or not, and I just had to take a leap of faith, so to speak. And yeah, and I hit it, but I didn't get the trophy at the end of the game. I got the trophy when I went into my sort of new game plus, as you will, with Metal Gear Solid 3. Because I actually did miss one, and it was the very first one in the game that I actually didn't get. I totally brushed past it, but luckily the progress carries over into new game plus. So yeah, you could imagine like how stressed out I was when I shot the final one in the game and the trophy didn't pop, and I was like, Well, fuck, basically. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was the very first one.
I relate to this one as well. And a fair warning: anyone trying to attempt this trophy, try not to make multiple saves, because otherwise because the data for the Keterans deletes itself if you make another save and you save on that one, and that progress carries over. So, for example, if you, let's say you go to that motorcycle scene and you make a separate save, only that Keteran gets counted, and the other ones are stuck in the actual save that you made. So that requires you to go back and doing all of it again, except that last one you actually made. So try to save inside the actual save file from the New Game Plus. So that's a fair warning to everyone trying to attempt this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you want to read out one, or shall I move on?
Okay, this one is from Perfect Sin. So this one is from the game Under the Ninth in Birth EXE Late, which was a free PS Plus game back in the day. This is a fighting game, of course, that apparently says this is a tricky start for me because the game is very easy once you get used to the mechanics, but there's one trophy called I'll Be Biak, which requires you to go executing a 90 plus hit combo using a character named Byakuya, using any option on the training mode. And it was a pain, largely due to getting the timings right and getting the combo down after getting very frustrated with it. There are many combos for this trophy, although it didn't have me catching enough and having to make approximately 90, so I decided to manage to get the whole combo together, and to my dismay, I came up short. And after all this practice turning out short, I thought maybe I could start a normal spam square button, which is the traditional one that you normally use when you're playing for the first time. Um, and I still was short, but then again, I tried to blend in with a special combo, and sure enough, I got 90 to 95 hits, and the trophy took 2 weeks and 3 days to master, but he finally did it. So, to add salt to the wound, he got a visit from his family members, and he got a thank you gift, a Hori Rap Pro 5, Pro 4 Kai fighting stink, which helped me get through the whole game easily. Eventually, I got the octagonal gate to mod it to give me better control, but in the end, it would have been useful from the very beginning, and I actually relate to this trophy so much. It blistered my hands after getting it, and I was in the floor crying from my poor dear hands. So try not to get this trophy. I know Mako here failed to get it. So cheer on, Mako. You can do it if you're listening in. So I think.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I'll finish off this section with mine. Mine's a little less wordy. It's a pretty simple one, but it took me a few tries to do. This is from Uncharted Lost Legacy. The trophy is Best Driver in the Business. Description is: drive from the Ganesh mountain carving on the top of the waterfall at the Trident Fall and back in under 3 minutes. Now, I'll touch on this lightly to avoid any kind of spoilers, but there's a big open world. So there's like a large open area in Uncharted The Lost Legacy, and it's where I'd say a good third of the game takes place, and you have to explore this whole open area and find different temples and treasures and puzzles and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And you drive around the area in a jeep, kind of like from Uncharted 4 when you have the jeep in I can't remember what the chapter was, but Drake, Sam, and Sully drives around in a jeep, and it's the same kind of thing here as well. You drive around in a jeep, and the trophy is from driving basically from one end of the map to the other and back again to the starting point in under 3 minutes. It is a little tricky to do because you actually have to drop off a few cliffs first, and then you have to actually drive upstream against the current, and sort of go up and then around and up to the very top of the stream, up to a waterfall, and then go drive down the river with the flow this time, and then up some sort of slippery kind of mud banks, and because the wheels can get stuck and spin if you're not too careful. where you drive. You can see where you're going to slip and slide. So it took me about 3 attempts to do. I think the first attempt was sort of I didn't expect to get it on the first go. The second one, I don't think I drove close enough to the finishing point, because I definitely got there in time, but I when I did it for my third time's a charm, I drove a little closer to the finishing point and the trophy popped, so I think I just didn't get close enough to the finishing point. But yeah, not a particularly hard trophy, definitely not one of the trickiest, but it can be a little frustrating, just like any time constraint based trophy, where you're like you get a little panicky and it affects your efficiency with the controller.
Okay.
You know, especially when you're sliding around in this Jeep. If you're going, you have to find a good route. If you're going to do it, watch a YouTube video to find the optimum route, and once you found it, it'll probably take you 2 or 3 tries to get it down, but it's not impossible. It's just slightly annoying. All right, so that brings us to the end of the tricky trophy section, and I think that's really going to round up now for this episode. We've been going for quite a while.
Yep.
We've covered a lot of ground in this one. So does anyone want to talk about or add anything about community or Discord before we finally wrap up?
Yeah, just really quick, guys. We still have our Bloodborne drawing going on. If you platinum Bloodborne during the month of March, you have to April 1st. You get entered into a chance to win a PlayStation card.
Nice.
Yep, that's awesome. And if you you don't have to have been playing Bloodborne recently as well. That's right, isn't it? You can, just as long as you get the platinum within the
that's exactly right. Even if you started Bloodborne 2 years ago, or a year ago, or a couple months ago, and you never finished it, as long as you get the platinum in March, you qualify for the drawing.
Yep.
Which is awesome.
That's cool. And please provide a timestamp providing it, please. It actually makes verifying easier, so...
Yeah, a lot easier, I mean.
Yeah, just a screenshot from the PlayStation app, or even just taking a photo of your TV screen with the trophy page up is absolutely fine. Anything else to add before we wrap up?
I would say this is Nomad talking. I'm still helping people with Destiny 1 trophies, and I'm still helping people with Diablo 3 as well, both on PS4. So just putting that out there.
Okay, cool. That's another example of all the boosting and stuff we have going on in our Discord. All right, guys, so I think it's time to find out where we can all find each other. So, Vec, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at @DVictronic. Where can people find you guys?
Punish?
You guys can find me on Twitter, SSG Punish, and you guys can also find me on Twitch, SSG Punish as well.
Nomad?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at NomadDragonPSN, or you can find me, I stream on Twitch, various games, just at NomadDragon.
Awesome, and you can find me on Twitter at @TheDezil. So, thank you for listening. As always, you can find our episodes on our YouTube channel, The Trophy Trust. Please support us there by subscribing for future episodes. You can also find updates on our Twitter at The Trophy Trust. There in the profile, you can find the link to our Discord, the PlayStation Trophy Hunter server, where you, if you haven't already, can join our ever-growing community of gamers and trophy hunters. If you enjoy our show, please consider supporting us on Patreon for as little as $1 a month. We are strictly a non-profit podcast. However, server hosts need to be paid to keep us on the air and to keep all our episodes available to you. This has been the Trophy Trust. Keep on trophy hunting. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.